Hello everybody, thank you for clicking in. All right, today we're going to be putting in some fuel injectors in a 2012 Ford Edge. This will be a little bit of a how-to, a lot of how-to, basically. The intake plenum is going to be removed, and then we're going to have to remove the high-pressure fuel rail, and then we're going to put the injectors in, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So stay tuned, and don't forget to hit that like button. Got to help this video get out. All right, here we go. So what we're looking at here is the 2-liter turbo. Yep, these things came with a 6-cylinder as well, but we're doing the 2-liter turbo. And there's normally a cover that I've already placed over there out of the way, and it just pops up off of there. And then we're looking at a plethora of all kind of different fun vacuum hoses and evap lines and PCV lines. And it's pretty intimidating to maybe some do-it-yourselfers out there. But basically, we're just going to start by removing these hoses and working our way down. First thing I want to do is I've got this purge valve. It's got to be moved. We're going to move it out of the way. We're going to disconnect a few wires and connectors. But what I want to do before I get too far ahead of myself is there's a lot of debris that's piled up around the bolts and around where the plenum bolts to the head. And to keep from that falling in there, I'm going to take a long air nozzle and I'm going to use pressurized air and blow all that stuff off, around this area to clean this all up a little bit. So when I remove this plenum, that we don't have that issue. The throttle body's down here at the very bottom, albeit hard to see because it's dark down there. But we're going to remove the clamp that holds the pipe right there, and then we'll kind of move forward. So let's stay tuned. Here we go. So I've got this hose off. It snaps down here, up here. This is a connector. I've already removed that. I've got that off right there. I'm just getting some of this stuff that's on the front of this intake because I'm going to take it off and just move it out of the way completely. I've got a connector down here I need to remove, and I'm real careful about how I do this. I prefer to use some form of an alternative disconnecting. I don't like to just push those connectors down. They break so easily, so I'll get underneath it with I'm using one hand because I'm holding my camera with the other. But I get behind it and then release it right up under the tab right here. You'll save this tab. If you push down, a lot of times it'll boop and it's broken, and then it won't stay on without some kind of way of securing it. We'll get that out of the way. Then I'm gonna get this other connector hole, or this hose is connected up under the intake, but there's a little thing that I've got to push down, and a lot of this stuff is hard to get into the camera shot. But basically, we're just working our way forward on this intake here. There's a line that runs across here for a bleeder hose for the cooling system that goes to the reservoir, fuel tank, whatever you want to call it. I'll take it off here and I'll just lay it out of the way. And this cooling line right here, I think I can leave it intact. I don't want to drain the cooling system unless I absolutely have to. And then once I kind of remove it from its little holding bracket there, then I'll be able to get to the clamp that's on the throttle body, remove that. There's a few more little deals. This thing here that holds the power brake booster vacuum hose, or goes to this little vacuum pump, which goes to your brake system. It's got a little red ring right there. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take a small flathead screwdriver and push in on this red ring and then pull out on that line, and that line is released from the intake that way. So let's just move forward and I'll see if I can get that in camera shot and show you. So I'm going to attempt to do this live on camera, but first, I'm going to show you there's a vacuum reservoir here. You've got a series of vacuum hoses. This one just trails right back to the intake with a check valve to keep the vacuum into this whenever there's a load. Anyhow, just to ensure that the hoses go back in the same spot. Probably won't matter, but would like to put things back like they came off. I will take a little bit of white out, and I'll put a dot here and a dot there. That way I'll know that hose goes to that. Now let's set this camera up and see if I can make this actually work. Okay, all right, stick with me here. All right, so let's sit there. I'm gonna try this, see if I don't knock everything all over. Now you got this thing here. There's the release is right there. We're gonna push in and pull out. Oh, almost had it. You almost had it. You gotta get right. There we go. Just keep. Sometimes you gotta. That's also gotta hold your mouth right too. So that's the thing. There we go. So you see how that's released, and Next up, just we'll remove these vacuum hoses, get this throttle body clampy thingy off. And we're not too far from getting to our injectors here, so let's just keep rolling through this. Another little trick I use when I'm dealing with vacuum hoses and I want to mess them up, I try to get right at the back side of them and push them off, like this right here. Like, oh, there we go. Like, you know, I don't like to go here at the end and try to pull, because things happen. It's not good. So we're just gonna get right here. Now that I've got it sort of removed, I can do like that right there. You can hear the vacuum that's been retained in our reservoir. All right, and I've got my little dot, so I know that hose goes there. That's just something I like to do. I did that on that hose over here. I got behind it and I pushed that way, so that way I don't, you know, because this thing will break off if you're not careful. This old reservoir right here, it's fragile, and so what'll happen there is you'll go to be like, and then you're over there with this, you're holding stuff, and it ain't good. Now we're just going to keep moving forward. So we've removed the fasteners, the bolts, the things that hold the intake on. There's one in the very like corner down over here, and I was able to get to it with a little extension and a 10mm socket. 10mm socket, guys. All right, all these little deals right here. And one at the corner. Now, I've got that throttle body thing disconnected at the thing. I don't know what else is holding this. We're gonna have to kind of pull it back and look in there and see. It seems like I've got something else sort of hanging on. And let me I'm gonna have to get my light in here and look. I think there's some kind of wiring harness that's still attached at some point. Once I get that off of there, I'll show you on camera, but it's kind of still hanging. I think there's I don't think I removed the connector for the throttle body yet, the power for that. So let's get that off of there and see what happens. So let me show you what was holding it there. I had a PCV line at the back here I had to remove, and that was a little bit cumbersome, but I had to spin it around just the right way and then grease the little clamps on each side, and then of course the wire, and that gave me actually better access to the connector for the throttle body there, and I was able to just, you know, spin the intake around the right way. It's hard to do it with two hands or with one hand trying to hold the camera. And I've put a little rag in my pipe that comes off the turbo for feeding this thing to keep me dropping something down there. And now we're almost to the injectors. We got the get this down, and we've got a heat shield, or it's a heat shield / noise suppressor, because these things click kind of loud, and so, you know, we'll put that up out of the way. And now what we have here is a fuel pressure or a rail pressure sensor. That's my light in the way, but you can see the little plenum seals. I got these from the Ford place, so I've got OEM seals that'll go back on this here, so just get these out of the way. And over here, and then we've got a line that comes from our high pressure pump that's back over here, and there's a little like thing that goes over that to kind of suppress the noise of the pump. And I want to take and try to, you know, hold this rail, even though it's held right here. I'm going to just be really careful. Just don't grab this and crank on it. You don't want to break this loose off of that, which you shouldn't, but I'm going to put a wrench on this and just turn it and see if it breaks loose. If it does, we were good. Then I'll move these bolts that hold this on, and then there's a bolt connector somewhere. Where are we at here? It comes around. There it is, right here. That's the bulkhead connector for this rail, and I think that's all that's on it. I might be wrong, but I think this goes on that bulkhead connector. So I'll just, if I remember right, I'm gonna take this off and then take that off right there. Then I can pull the whole rail with the harness and all. Then I'll gain access to the plug-ins really easily. So let's do that. Okay, so this is what it looks like with the rail removed. To get that rail out, like I said, I had unplugged a couple of the knock sensors, and there was another little plug-in that went over here. I just disconnected it. Anyhow, these injectors there's no special tool that you need to get them out. You can actually the rail, sometimes all the injectors will come out with the rail. Sometimes you'll pull the rail off and a couple will be still in the engine. You just have to kind of grab them, and I used my hand and twisted and popped them out. What the deal is with these, and I'll give you a little rundown. They're directly ported into the cylinder. They're not in the intake ports like you would normally see. So there's actually positive pressure on these injectors versus a vacuum. And so they designed the injectors a little bit differently accordingly. And plus, because of that, there's a few things that they've also done. They run a pretty high fuel rail pressure, almost like what a diesel does. If you run these on live data and you actually can look at the fuel pressure in real time, they run approximately, they'll idle at like 900 psi, maybe 1,000 sometimes. And then when you throttle into it, that pressure can come up and goes into the thousands, 2,000 psi. And a couple of things happen when you do that. First of all, you exceed the pressure in the cylinder so that it actually can get in there. That's one thing. These don't fire until the time of injection. I'm sorry. They don't pop the injectors until the time of ignition, almost like a diesel. And the reason for that is because you don't want the injectors squirting raw fuel into the cylinder as it comes to the top dead center. A couple of reasons being is because they have an atmospheric pressure increasement because of the turbo that boosts these engines, which then theoretically increases the compression ratio. And with the added cylinder pressure, if you were to get a good range of horsepower and efficiency when there's light load, turbo, you got to run a higher compression ratio. And so most engines that run turbo run a lower compression ratio, which makes them a little less efficient when there's no boost. So what they'll do is, instead of having the fuel in the cylinders as it goes into the intake stroke and compression, the fuel and air at the same time, with the high compression ratio, then you would have a pre-ignition, and then if you add boost to that, you'd really have a problem. So they wait until this time for ignition to administer fuel into the cylinders, which means you're at the peak compression. So they got to run a higher fuel rail. Plus, with the injector nozzles having very small, fine little pinholes in them, it allows that high pressure to fog that fuel to make it extremely atomizable to the air that goes into the cylinder, which then improves the combustion process. So there's a couple of benefits by having this thing direct injected. One being the fact that it can run a higher compression ratio, and a little more boost pressure and everything, because there's no fuel in the cylinder to pre-ignite as it's coming up the top dead center. Just a little quick rundown on that. Now let's look at the rail. The rail itself has you got your 4 injectors. They slide out. There's just some O-rings on the end, and there's a little funny looking little O-ring that seals it to the engine right here. And we have all that. The customer bought some stuff, but they didn't have what I needed for the plenum seals, the little square, so I had to get those separately. But anyhow, we're going to clean this rail up. We're going to remove the injectors one by one, which is one of those left. So get that out. Put the new injectors in, make sure we got the seals in. We'll apply a little bit of grease so that this can slide in efficiently without rolling the O-rings on these. And we'll get it all back together. And that's pretty much how that works there. So I hope this video helps, your do-it-yourself guy trying to keep the wife's vehicle running. It could be your vehicle. If you're driving this vehicle, it's a wife's vehicle. I hate to tell you. I'm a man and I drive a Ford Edge. Okay. Yeah, you traded in your Prius for it, I'm guessing, right? Anyhow, now that I've offended half of my audience, if you have any questions, leave it in the comment section. If you want any other videos done, just let me know. Have a good rest of the week ahead, guys. I'm out. Thank you. Oh, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, man. Help this channel grow. Peace out.